Hi, I'm Marna, and I've been working on crafts for my BJDs for the upcoming Halloween videos. But this one can be used for any day of the year. I made fishnet stockings for my BJD doll, and I'm really pleased with how they turned out. And I'd like to show you how I had done that. When I see fishnets or tights on sale at wherever, Walmart, I buy the biggest size that I can find. And you can reuse this. It is not easy to sew. I'm going to grant you that right now. I am going to do this by hand. I don't know that this will work, but we're going to give it a go and see. Now, for a bigger doll, such as a 38-inch Barbie, I would buy the small sizes and see how that fit, but I know it wouldn't fit well. Okay, you take the leg of your stocking and your toe is a little thicker. You want the seam to lay flat at your doll's heels. And then you want to work the fabric of the leg up so that it lays even. In other words, you don't want a crease in there so that there's more fabric on one side than the other when you get ready to sew each of your legs. So you want to work that out like that. And you just pull. It's not a big deal and only takes a minute. Now, because this has so much stretch, you're going to start your doll at her heels because you're going to have a lot of stretch in there. And then you're going to pull this around even. And you're going to take your scissors and cut this stocking at the small of her back. Fishnet should not ravel. Okay, we're going to turn the stocking inside out. And the reason you're going to do that is we're getting ready to cut this and you're going to put seams to the inside of her legs with black thread. I'm trying to figure out this toe. There we go, there we go, there we go. And it'll already be inside out. I have a chip on my nail and it's really pulling. All right. So what we want to do is lift her little butt up and line that up with her panties. Now remember, this stretches, so we'll use that. Okay, when you sew your fishnets, you will take that between your hand and stretch as you go so that those seams are loose and stretch a little bit. We're going to cut this right in half, all the way up to where they need to stop. Okay, and then we will take black thread. Oh, I don't have my black thread ready. Oh yeah, I do. I'm going to take black thread. I'm doing this by hand, and I would highly recommend that you start at the crouch and you give that crouch a couple of good knots. And I'm going to go between my thread to knot that. I always use double thread. Yes, it shows more, but you know, I'm kind of that way. I'm not nice and easy and all of that. I'm kind of get it done and nail it down. And I'm going to put one to the left side and one to the right side. And I'm probably doing that backwards. I'm dyslexic, but pretend like the camera's a mirror image. Okay, so I have three. Can you hear my cameraman? He's always laughing at me. All right, I'm going to take this in my hand, and what I'm going to do is a stitch. I'm not going in and out and in and out. I'm going round and round. Let me cut that right there and get going here. I don't want that to get caught in my thread is why. And I don't know if you can see this because black on black on black, but I've got it. I'm stretching it so that there's give in this when we go. Now, every third stitch or so, I knot. How do I do that? I just put my needle back into the circle and call it a knot. No, that's going to knot on me for sure. Well, I'll do the next one. Okay, so it's not rocket science here. Anybody could do this, hopefully me. And we're going to do that all the way down to the toe. When you get to the toe, make sure you have the entire, there is a stitch there, but that could slide. I'm going to go all the way around to the end and then around the corner to the far end and come back, and then I'm going to knot that really well. Okay, so we have our stitch up the middle of the fishnets. So what we want to do now is make them with a piece of elastic around her waist, and that's to keep them up and keep them tight. And I'm going to do this around the small of her waist. You can put it anywhere you want. And what you want is your elastic just a little snug. And what you can do is just measure it off even, and then when you add your stitch, you have snug. I'm going to go a little bit tighter than that. I really like these fishnets. I'm probably going to use them a lot. So I'm measuring off my piece of elastic. Let me measure that again because it slid. Okay. I'm going to cut that off, and then what I'm going to do first is take a stitch. I'm going to fold it over about that far. It's probably 1/4 inch. And I'm going to stitch that down. A couple things I want to mention on your elastic band for the waist of your fishnets. First of all, sew that down very tight and knot it off very tight. You're going to have a lot of pull. Then make sure it goes over your doll's hips before you sew it into your fishnets. And to sew it into the fishnets, you can do this a couple ways. I'm just going to sew it in. See, I'm putting that inside the fishnets. I'm doubling that over. I am leaving a raw edge for 2 reasons. One, this isn't fraying. Second of all, you don't want too much bulk between the doll's underclothing and the outer clothing. You don't want a panty line. So the thinner you can make this, the better. Okay, I did that backwards, and I want to show, Darren caught it. Normally I would turn these inside right before I sewed the band in, but they're inside backwards. So I want the band on the outside and fold this down over this direction, because when we turn these inside right, then your waist is correct. Thank you, Darren, for noticing that. When you finish your fishnets, I was going to pull this shoe off so you could see the bottom too. The top will be finished and the foot will be finished, if you can see that, so that it is a finished edge. I actually put elastic around the waist, and always make sure your elastic will go over the hips and thighs before you sew it down. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe. And don't forget to come back. We do a lot of easy to do crafts for not only BJD dolls, but all sorts of different types and sizes. Thank you for watching.